Brother, what do you mean, then? Long Jiu's words, Zi Xianyang also suddenly became serious. I believe you must have your reasons for doing this. Don't say, you sold me again. We live and die together. Can't help but touch the nose, Zhuo Fan said lightly. Both are the people I trust Zhuo Fan most. If not necessary, I will never involve you in this dangerous situation. But, you are already in danger, not as good plan early. The pupils shrank slightly, and they both said, what do you mean, can't you see it? With a chuckle, Zhuofan's eyes flashed a deep light. That Emperor Gate intends to unify the 7 families, and you have been placed on the list that must be eliminated. Instead of being beaten passively. It is better no. Just draw the line and fight with it to the end. What, do you have a unified family of 7? How do you know? Everyone screamed together. Can't help but touch the nose. Zhuo Fan slowly shook his head. I don't know, just guess. Then Wang Pu Qingyan got off the car and gave Zi Xianyang, who was not convinced, him to dismount the horse. If this is an arrogant child's character, then, the discussion on the table later became the true emperor's heart technique. On the surface, he was borrowing questions to deliberately humiliate the Jianhao mansion and exhale himself. But in fact, he achieved 2 purposes. First, he weakened the status of the masters of Huaiulu, and provoked Jianhao Mansion and Huaiulu relationship. Second, it is to divide the present family into 3 types of people: obedient, disobedient, and cluttered. Obviously, the performances of Nether Valley and Yao Wangjian just now are submissive. The Huaiyu Tower, Jianhao Mansion, and Qianlong Pavilion have repeatedly opposed his decision. And it is naturally unsatisfactory. As for the Happy Forest, it is full. Wall-head grass. Hearing Zhuo Fan's analysis, everyone thought about the scene at the banquet. And it seemed that this was indeed the case. Now they can understand why some impure and even rude and disgusting behaviors to the eldest son of a big family are all done by Emperor Pu Qingyan. It turned out that he wasn't arrogant, but was just choosing the family to deal with next. For a time, everyone was sweating and sweating. If Zhuo Fan is right, the 7 strongest imperial gates will declare war on them, eradicate them one by one, and realize the great cause of the unification of the 7 families. However, this is all your guess. If this is not the case, then we have had trouble with the Imperial Gate for no reason. Long Kui thought for a moment, looked at Zhuofan, and said with unprecedented seriousness, nodding his head. Zhuofan's eyes were indifferent, it's true, but you think, what's the difference between being caught offended by them and being evil with them? The 2 evils have the right to take the light. If it's me, if they have any signs, I'll smother them completely. Under the heart, Long Jiu and Jian Sufeng looked at each other with amazement. This child works hard and decisively. Really is the talent of the overlord. Okay, the so-called anti-human heart is indispensable. It's as if their Emperor's Gate has already stared at the 7 tigers. But it doesn't matter if the mess of Huaiulao. Brother, you let us support Huaiulao. The Emperor Gate is going to war. Zi Xianyang thought for a long time, suddenly said. The sword glanced at him approvingly, and nodded in satisfaction. This kid finally knows to consider for the family. With a chuckle, Zhuo Fan did not agree. Huaiulao is indeed the weakest of the 7 houses, and has reached the edge of falling apart. Therefore, the Emperor Gate first took it. You can think about it, if Huaiulao disappears. Then the Emperor Gate, who is the one dealing with. Suddenly horrified, everyone realized that although Huaiulao was weak, it was a sign of the existence of the 7 houses. If the Huaiyu Tower is gone, then it is their turn to Jianhao Mansion and Qianlong Pavilion. Huaiulao is a door for you. When this door is broken, the Imperial Gate can be driven straight in and embezzle the major families. Moreover, if there is a Huaiulao, we can also know the direction of the Imperial Gate's attack. Then we have no way of knowing its next goal. Hearing Zhuo Fan's words, The people nodded together, their eyes dimmed with rare dignity. Even Long Kuai, who has never dealt with Zhuo Fan, has no objection this time. After all, it is a family matter, and she has to focus on the big picture. So, what benefits can you get at this time? Zi Xianyang looked at Zhuo Fan and said. With my understanding of you, you will never do anything that is not good. What's more, it is a duty to help Huayula overcoming difficulties. With a slight smile, Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed a confident look, looking at Lonke Road. Miss Lonke, do you remember our 10-year contract? Within 10 years, the Luo family surpassed the 7th family. Lonke Ui stunned, murmured. Good, nodded slightly. Zhuo Fan smiled. The advantage I want is to slow down the pace of the Imperial Gate. Let the Luo family rise within 10 years. By then, who is the first family of Xianyu? Just maybe. Double quote.